Is Zara mocking the deaths of Palestinian children, or is there more to this story? On December 7th, Zara released a new campaign for their Atelier collection, starring Kristen McMenemy and photographed by Tim Walker. The set design had all the hallmarks of a signature Tim Walker fashion shoot, beauty clashing with decay, with references to other fields of the art world. But this image in particular has been met with outrage by netizens who are drawing comparisons of the wrapped statue to the body bags of deceased Palestinians and claiming Zara is mocking the genocide of children. Taking it a step further, this broken piece of gypsum board is allegedly more evidence that this insult was intentional because that piece is in the shape of Palestine. Protests erupted across the globe, with supporters of Palestine calling for a boycott of Zara and all other brands in the Inditex group. Zara released a statement, and I think it is worth looking at it piece by piece. The campaign, that was conceived in July and photographed in September, let's just stop there for a second. We have to accept some common definition of reality, so given that it was shot months ago, the intention could not have been to reference events that had yet to occur. Now to the next part. Presents a series of images of unfinished sculptures in a sculptor's studio. Pause. If you have worked in an art gallery or have some familiarity with that world, the Zara campaign is immediately identifiable as referencing very common elements that you would find in a sculptor's studio, with the giant wooden crates that transport fine art, plaster casts, which for centuries have been used for making molds before creating the final artwork in bronze, and the plastic or cloth coverings that protect the artwork during transportation. The missing limbs on the statue are a reflection of how many statues are assembled. Visual artist Adrian Skenderovic did a photo series called Mummies back in 2015 on these shrouded statues covered during the winters at Versailles. You can find these elements in stock images of a sculptor's studio, so it is not some niche reference that came from thin air. Now to the last part of the sentence. And was created with the sole purpose of showcasing craft-made garments in an artistic context. This campaign was not for one of the main collections of the year, that being spring-summer or fall-winter. This was specifically for their Atelier collection that features higher quality materials and craftsmanship than their regular collections, and at a higher price point. Zara's communication strategy is to mimic the appearance of luxury brands, even if they are a fast fashion brand, and one of the tenets of luxury is the emphasis on the hand. You will always find references to the hand when it comes to luxury, from behind-the-scenes footage of hand-beaded couture gowns in the Atelier of Dior, even to luxury car companies boasting that their leather has been hand-stitched. Zara doesn't have a heritage of artisans to fall back on, like Gucci or Louis Vuitton, so this concept of a sculptor studio makes sense strategically, associating them with craftsmanship rather than mass production. Now to the apology part. Unfortunately, some customers felt offended by these images, which have now been removed, and saw in them something far from what was intended when they were created. Zara regrets that misunderstanding, and we reaffirm our deep respect towards everyone. To the thousands of people who have been outraged and offended by the Zara campaign, your feelings are valid. And if your Instagram stories and Twitter are full of the images of destruction of Gaza and the tragic loss of life, it is not surprising that you are primed to see these images through that worldview. The response, however, should not be to attack the people involved in the campaign that unknowingly offended you. Kristen McMenemy's Instagram comments are now filled with hateful messages by people who have decided that she supports genocide for starring in this campaign shot months ago. Ironically, only a few days before, Kristen was getting comments accusing her of being anti-Semitic because she signed with IMG Models, the agency that represents the Hadids, who are half Palestinian and vocal supporters of the Palestinian people. Much to the chagrin of the online mob, fashion photographer Tim Walker does not have Instagram, but that doesn't matter because there is another man named Tim Walker whose Instagram is now being flooded with Palestinian flags and harassing comments on his pictures of his son skateboarding. This illustrates even further, the reality of what happened doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter if people not involved in the campaign are being harassed. Mob mentality has taken over, and releasing aggression is the real objective. For some more perspective, let's look at another potential area for outrage. Walmart is another brand that should be boycotted for their collection supporting the genocide of Palestinian children by releasing this hoodie in the colors of the Israeli flag. Well, actually, they're supporting Hamas with this sweater in the colors of the Palestinian flag. Actually, they are both Christmas sweaters, so they are mocking Jews and Muslims by putting a unicorn and a pug on these clothes, celebrating a Christian holiday. There is one final and very important thing I want to make clear about Zara and what statement they are making about Israel and Palestine. Zara's religion is capitalism. Zara's political affiliation is exponential growth. At every stage of the manufacturing process, Zara is looking at how to save pennies that will add up to millions, given the scale of their operations with their 2,000 plus retail stores in over 96 countries. Zara would not deliberately alienate their Muslim or Jewish clientele, especially in such a clumsy way like this. If Zara did want to support either Israel or Palestine, you better believe that support would come in the form of merchandise that they could sell in stores and make the company more money. The tendency to anthropomorphize and politicize companies has its limitations, especially when a company is as global as Zara. The argument that Zara should have removed the images of the wrapped statues before publishing them, given the context of what happened since they shot it, now that is a fair argument to make. Zara has since pulled the images, gave context to how the shoot was conceived and when it happened, but I want to know, what is an appropriate apology and way forward from here for those screaming, "Boycott Zara forever"? If you made it to the end of this video and are still steadfast on the idea that this Zara campaign was deliberately evil rather than unintentionally insensitive, I implore you to donate to one of the charities listed in the description of this video. I think a donation is going to help the people in Gaza much more than leaving a Palestinian flag in the comments or attacking a model in a Zara campaign.